for radio listeners only at getsuperbeets.com, code radio.
Oh, it's Wednesday, hump day. We're almost there. All right, let's get to it because we've got tons, including a council meeting last night, the committee of the whole, hearing all kinds of issues coming up, but they focus a lot on contracts with the auto supplier for the mechanic shop in Springfield. Also, you've got some conversations about crime and how that's being handled. So we'll tackle that in the 7 o'clock hour here locally with Springfield and the council roundup. But this next hour, we're going to jump into the latest between former President Trump and President Biden when it comes to controversies. As you heard in New York, they're wanting to dissolve Trump properties. But Biden, apparently, a sweeping investigation into his handling of classified documents being revealed. Plus, a pretty huge bombshell out of the House Oversight Committee the day or so before they do their first impeachment inquiry hearing. So we'll get to that as well. Also, we got to talk about violence up in Chicago. That was the focus of a U.S. House Judiciary Committee yesterday. So we'll do a deep dive into that, hear from the witnesses, hear from some Republican congressmen, because the Democrats didn't show. So we'll get to all of that here in the next hour. In Springfield's Morning News, I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk, it's 6:04.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Illinois is about to receive nearly $140 million from the federal government to clean up the state's drinking water. Illinois leads the nation in known lead service lines, and the federal support will help Illinois EPA remove and replace dangerous lead pipes. The investment will also help remove and prevent contaminants, including harmful forever chemicals, in Illinoisans' drinking water. Lincoln Land Community College invites the public to a haunted house called Fear 101 during October weekends, sponsored by the LLCC Police Department. Students from construction and art classes assisted in building and decorating the haunted house, which is located in the lower level of Sangamon Hall South on the LLCC campus. The evening haunted house is recommended for ages 13 and up. More information at WMAY.com. Members of the College Football Playoff Management Committee are meeting in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont today to hammer out the details of next year's expanded playoff field. The playoff is set to expand from 4 to 12 teams next year, but the implosion of the Pac-12 has complicated matters. The current model assumes the existence of 6 Power 5 athletic conferences in football, but 10 of the 12 members of the West Coast League have announced plans to leave next year, making its status as a Power 5 league very much up in the air. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum received an original 1858 photograph of Lincoln made while he was campaigning for the U.S. Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. Lincoln gifted the photo to a shopkeeper named Charles Lame, who had been severely injured while testing a cannon to be fired during a campaign stop in Pittsfield. The image, technically known as an ambrotype, had remained in the family for nearly 170 years when some of his descendants decided to donate it to the Presidential Library in Springfield. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com. Getting around town can be a challenge for those with disabilities. SMTD's Access Paratransit makes it easy.
My name is Brian Kerr. I'm an Access Paratransit driver.
And Brian, what would you say is the most important part of your job?
The most important part of my job is making sure that I get my passengers to their destination safely.
And what's one of the top benefits of SMTD Access that comes to mind?
SMTD Access is very reliable.
For schedules and routes, go to smtd.org. SMTD is everywhere.
Keeping you connected with the latest market updates every weekday afternoon at 4:30 and 6:30. Brought to you by Edward Jones, making sense of investing. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power. Batteries of all shapes and sizes. Excellent service. Exceptional value.
They're called Motobat batteries, and we have them at Rex. Motobats are batteries for motorcycles that are powerful enough to handle all your accessories. As you add new gadgets to your motorcycle, the standard factory battery may not be enough to handle it all. The MotoBat battery is designed to send enough juice to the whole motorcycle and keep you moving down the road. At Rex Battery, we have all kinds of batteries for all kinds of vehicles. The MotoBat battery has a quad flex terminal design, shortening the path to the battery cable. That means you get quicker power delivery and improved starting ability. If you have a motorcycle, you need MotoBat. Rex Battery on Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Chance for scattered storms today, otherwise cloudy skies. High of 77, winds out of the west 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies. Tonight, lows dip down to about 59. High of 78. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday, with highs from the low 80s to the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 62.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
Find the brands, inspiration, and great value you need to own your style at Macy's VIP sale. Going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off fall trends and updates. Plus 15% off go-to beauty, skincare, and fragrances. Plus shop specials and find great deals on top brands at Macy's VIP sale. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Blood donors rock at Impact Life because saving lives is in their bones. Now, through October 31st, all donors who register to give blood will be eligible for their choice of a $10 gift card or a limited edition Blood Donors Rock long-sleeved Halloween-themed t-shirt. Give what's in your heart today and register to donate blood before October 31st. Visit our donor center on Wabash in Springfield or on Main Street in Decatur. We are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Springfield supportive living. Are you young enough?
Lavina Roach. I was married for almost 65 years, and I have 4 kids, 5 grandkids, and 5 great-grandkids. I've been here for 5 months. It's so clean. Everybody's wonderful. It makes you feel more like home. And I don't think there's any place in town that's as nice as this one.
Springfield supportive living. Are you young enough?
Barcom Security. You know, we're the Have a Secure Day security systems company, right here out on South Cokie Mill Road. Family owned and managed for nearly 50 years. We are local experts in residential, small business, and commercial security systems. Family owned, family values, treating you just like family. Call us anytime, day or night, and we'll actually pick up the phone. You can check us out at barcomsecurity.com, and as always, have a secure day.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
So where we are in Chicago right now, we can be downtown Chicago, be robbed, killed. So where we are in Chicago right now, where you can be downtown Chicago, be robbed, killed, whatever the case may be, we're really entering Gotham City based on the law that just got implemented.
I am so sad for you all that have been impacted, our police who are being defunded and demoralized. The American people do not support that, and there are more of us than them. We are the normals, and they are the crazies.
That is just a little bit of what was heard yesterday at a U.S. House committee hearing dealing with the issues of violent crime in Chicago. Welcome in Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk, of course, hearing there from Gianno Caldwell, as well as U.S. Representative Mary Miller, who was part of that panel yesterday in Chicago. at the Fraternal Order of Police. So we'll hear a lot of this, of what the back and forth was with these witnesses, three of them in particular, Caldwell being one of them, a retired Chicago detective, John Garrido. Also, Carlos Yanez is a retired disabled Chicago police officer who was shot 5 times. They all talked about the situation on the ground in Chicago. The Pretrial Fairness Act or the Safety Act came up. Police morale came up. The issues of various policies in Cook County came up. So obviously there's some questions as to how local prosecutors are dealing with crime and how that may be emboldening criminals, according to these witnesses. One being a victim's survivor. Caldwell's brother, we'll hear, was murdered on the streets of Chicago. You've got Yanez, the retired disabled police officer who was shot 5 times and a partner killed. And you've got some interesting conversations that transpired yesterday. So let's go ahead and get into it. The panel, of course, was chaired by U.S. Representative Jim Jordan, who's from Ohio, and he kind of laid out why they were there and talking about this yesterday in Chicago.
According to an official report by the Chicago Police Department, crime in Chicago overall has increased during the last 5 years by nearly 20%. Theft is also a huge problem in Chicago, which saw an 114% increase in car thefts and a 32% increase in other thefts between 2018 and 2022. A rogue prosecutor's decision not to prosecute crimes is made even worse when the legislature passes its pro-criminal policies that they did just recently with the so-called Safety Act. This law abolished bail, implemented arrest and release policies for policing, limited when defendants could be deemed flight risk, and prevented police from arresting nonviolent trespassers. The result? 63% of Chicagoans now do not feel safe in their city. By downplaying surging crime and denying victims justice, the leaders of this city are failing their citizens.
So Jordan laying out some of the rationale as to why they decided to hold this hearing in Chicago. They had previously done one in New York, but House Republicans bringing their traveling committee to Chicago to hear from those on the ground experiencing elevated crime levels. While shootings are down about 10% over the year, you've got Chicago police statistics showing an overall increase over 2 years of overall crime, up 77%, while vehicle thefts are up 211%. Robberies are up 45% during that 2-year period. Congressman Biggs, also part of the panel yesterday, sounding off on issues that he's concerned with.
Yesterday, a member of my staff went to grab a few items from Walgreens located across the street from the Art Institute of Chicago, around the corner from the iconic Cloud Gate sculpture in Grant Park. A sign indicated the store will be closing permanently within the month. And aisle by aisle, every product, including deodorant, toothpaste, were behind locked cases to prevent the retail crime. These soft on crime policies undermine the rule of law and limit the freedom of everyday people. Law-abiding everyday people live in fear, and that fear results in limits on the ability to travel, engage in commerce, and to associate one with another. These policies emasculate law enforcement. They hand over control of a once great American city to violent criminals. And when I speak about this, I'm thinking of what really makes a community, its ability to trust each other. And that seems to be gone in so many cities. Tragedy. It's a tragedy.
So Biggs highlighting some of the things that he saw on the ground and his staff experienced on the ground in Chicago. Now on to the witnesses. Gianno Caldwell, a Fox News contributor and someone whose teenage brother was shot and killed in Chicago. He laid out his testimony as to why it's important that the spotlight is on the Windy City and Cook County.
And it has come at a great price for the people of the city, not just in blood, but also in treasure and opportunity as multi-billion-dollar businesses like King Griffin Citadel justifiably fled Chicago. And he took millions of dollars in tax revenue with him. We know this has happened in due part to the policies of the Cook County prosecutor, Chicago's most recent mayors, the governor, other politicians throughout the state of Illinois. These officials have recklessly ignored the people they were elected to represent. And as a result, bodies, mostly black bodies, are littered throughout the streets of Chicago. I unfortunately understand the pain of thousands of victims whose families have been destroyed. On June 24th of last year, I received a call that my innocent teenage baby brother, Christian, had been murdered, shot down in the street by a stranger when a group of men stepped out of a black SUV and fired into a crowd on 114 South Vincent Street. The police have repeatedly said that my brother was not the target, that he just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But in Chicago, being at the wrong place at the wrong time could be sleeping in your bed and a bullet comes through your window. Or in the backseat of a car at a McDonald's drive-thru as 7-year-old Jocelyn Adams was murdered. Living in Chicago should not come with a death sentence, but it does for too many Chicagoans.
So Caldwell sharing the personal experience he had of his younger brother being shot and killed, and law enforcement essentially saying that, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But there have been other instances that have been raised of, even most recently, an 80-plus-year-old man shot by his vehicle and killed recently within the past week. You've got the issues of no cash bail leading to some alarming stories of somebody who shot their neighbor's dog in the head being released because prosecutors didn't put up any reason to, keep them behind bars pending trial. And this hurts the morale of law enforcement. Carlos Yanez is a retired disabled Chicago police officer who was shot 5 times and whose partner was killed. Here's his testimony in front of the House panel. Actually, we'll take a quick break and come back for that. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY 619 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Deliver smiles, butter burgers, fresh custard, and great service. Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all positions.
If you want to bank safe from anywhere, get the app you can use everywhere. Your money's right in your hand. Nobody loves you like Heartland. Get a loan, pay a bill when you're on the go. Deposit that check right from your phone. Download our app and you can. Nobody loves you like Heartland. We're like a bank, but only better, 'cause you'll remember. Bank like you own the place. Heartland Credit Union. X with a double X. Battery. Generations of power. Batteries of all shapes and sizes. Excellent service. Exceptional value.
They're called Motobat batteries, and we have them at Rex. Motobats are batteries for motorcycles that are powerful enough to handle all your accessories. As you add new gadgets to your motorcycle, the standard factory battery may not be enough to handle it all. The Motobat battery is designed to send enough juice to the whole motorcycle and keep you moving down the road. At Rex Battery, we have all kinds of batteries for all kinds of vehicles. The Motobat battery has a quad flex terminal design, shortening the path to the battery cable. That means you get quicker power delivery and improved starting ability. If you have a motorcycle, you need Motobat. Rex Battery on Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
X with a double X. Battery. Generations of power.
Time to move inside and make your home warm and cozy. Hendricks Home Furnishings is having a fall sale on all things homey. Cozy up on a new sofa or sectional. Relax and unwind with comfy recliners or stylish chairs. Pick out a new fireplace console to complement your seasonal decor. Settle in for a gathering at your new dining or kitchen table. Don't miss out on our limited time fall offers. Just a short drive to Verdon on Route 4. Hendricks Home Furnishings has everything you need to create a warm and inviting space.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole story.
Shoes, Brews, and Biz is back. The Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce's 5th annual Shoes, Brews, and Biz will be on Thursday, October 5th at the LRS hangar at 5 p.m. Shoes, Brews, and Biz will feature Springfield's favorite horseshoes and craft beers from local restaurants and breweries. Advance tickets are $20, and that will include samples of unique horseshoes and craft beers, along with the rare opportunity to tour the car and motorcycle collection owned by Dick Levi of Levi, Ray, and Shoup Incorporated. Call for tickets at 525-1173 or visit gscc.org. That's 525-1173 or gscc.org. The Chamber's Shoes, Brews, and Biz Thursday, October 5th at the LRS hangar by presenting sponsor Bank and Trust Company, premier sponsors Green Volkswagen Audi, Nob Hill Landscape Company, Springfield Clinic, and this station.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay zero penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text HEDGE to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Blood donors rock at Impact Life because saving lives is in their bones. Now, through October 31st, all donors who register to give blood will be eligible for their choice of a $10 gift card or a limited edition Blood Donors Rock long-sleeved Halloween-themed t-shirt. Give what's in your heart today and register to donate blood before October 31st. Visit our donor center on Wabash in Springfield or on Main Street in Decatur. We are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Hearing some of the testimony yesterday from that traveling U.S. House Judiciary Committee hearing up in Chicago, where you had witnesses talk about what they're experiencing on the ground, including retired police officers. Carlos Yanez is a retired disabled cop who was shot 5 times and his partner was killed. Here's some of his testimony to the congressmen bringing their Judiciary Committee to the Windy City.
But with all the policies and procedures put into place, officers find themselves with their hands tied behind their back. Being an officer is stressful enough, but now it seems like there is a witch hunt after officers unnecessarily. Officers continue to lock up violent offenders, but we find them back. Then we find them back on the streets committing even more violent crimes, including murder. I just hope we elect someone that is going to demand accountability this next term. It is time to stop coddling criminals and holding them accountable for their actions. Only then will they stop and think before they carjack, rob, shoot, or kill a law-abiding citizen.
So, again, the questions are about police morale and how local prosecutors are treating criminal suspects and detainees. And you have another retired police officer, retired detective, John Garrido, talking to committee members about, how they can be more combative. Criminal defendants can be more combative, especially with the knowledge that, hey, they might not face the kinds of consequences they faced even just a week and a half ago. Here is the retired detective.
Because we haven't really seen much yet.
Let's actually check this. Okay, no, that's actually... That is Caldwell talking about the situation on the ground and how he feels some problems are elevated even further.
Because we haven't really seen much yet because the implementation of that law just started. But I'm believing, just based on just pure logic and common sense, that this is going to make matters much worse.
So you've got the bad guys are just learning
and they're quickly learning because this stuff is broadcast everywhere, that they don't have to worry about any consequences. So it makes it extremely difficult for officers to do their job because you're now dealing with people that are even more combative than they normally would be.
Now, Matt Gaetz, he wasn't there. He was actually back in D.C. He plugged in remotely. He said he's working on trying to craft the spending plan before the end of the week. But he asked a series of questions. One in particular he asked Gianno Caldwell was, is Chicago savable?
Is Chicago savable? Absolutely, it is savable. I think we absolutely have to unite as a city. And a lot of the leadership that we've seen, Brandon Johnson, as you know, he just got elected into office, but crime is now up 29-30%. If the leadership doesn't start changing, if the folks in Chicago don't start voting differently and demanding justice versus becoming numb to what we see as a daily slaughter, then we can't get anything done. We can't have movement. But I do believe that the city can be saved and is worth being saved.
So some prescriptions there that at least Caldwell has in trying to get people to realize that current policies being pushed by current elected officials are not working. Congresswoman Mary Miller, she was a part of the committee as well, and she blasted state officials for the Safety Act and soft on crime policies, she says.
Last week, Governor Pritzker's Safety Act went into effect here in Illinois, making Illinois the first state to do away with cash bail. And I want to remind everybody that 100 out of 102 states' attorneys oppose this. Despite Governor Pritzker and the Democrats' assurances that the Safety Act would not result in the release of violent offenders, initial reports tell us a different story. The first individual released under this new policy had been arrested for pepper spraying 4 police officers. Further reports shed light on a similar case where a man on parole for armed robbery and aggravated battery was once again apprehended, this time for the theft of merchandise valued at $68,000 from a store in DuPage County. Astonishingly, he walked free after the arrest. The release of such an individual who clearly poses a significant threat to the community without requiring bail, it clearly shows Governor Pritzker lied to the people of Illinois. And I want to make the statement that the first role of the government is to protect the people. There is a party that is supporting an open border and defunding the police. And I always told my kids, there's a scripture that says a tree is known by its fruit. Likewise, a politician is known by their votes and the policies they promote. The fact is, every Democrat voted for the Safety Act and supported Governor Pritzker's lie to the American people, and every Republican voted no. And I am so sad for you all that have been impacted, our police who are being defunded and demoralized. The American people do not support that, and there are more of us than them. We are the normals, and they are the crazies. What I want to know is, what is it going to take to wake the people up in Chicago, and especially in the communities that are disproportionately impacted by this violence, to realize that the people they are electing are promoting these policies and voting for it? It's a clear line. 100% of the Democrats voted for Pritzker's Safety Act. So, Lieutenant, I'd like to start with you and let you each share what can be done to wake the people up.
All right, so several of my friends asked me why I was going to come here to testify today, kind of citing the definition of insanity as doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different. But it doesn't mean that we don't do anything. We can't not speak up. We can't not shine a light on it. We can't, we have to draw attention to what's happening and what's going on. What it's going to take to wake them up, I don't know. I mean, think about just the few that you listed, cases of these offenders that are walking free, or the guy who, shot and killed his neighbor's dog this morning. These are clearly violent people, and that's not even enough to get them held.
I believe that the bill has a beautiful name, but it doesn't state that. It's nothing safe about that. All you're going to end up doing is re-victimizing the victim, and worse, even if they're not violent criminals for what they did, they're going to get out and they're going to be afraid to go back to jail. and all they're going to do is hurt a witness or a victim or a law-abiding citizen. So it just doesn't make any sense.
Law and order is the only way we're going to change the situation here in the city of Chicago. And I am hopeful that this committee hearing will lead to some more light on that. But I am also disappointed that many of your colleagues on the Democrat side chose not to come here. Many of the folks who've said Black Lives Matter, and they do, but they're not showing that Black Lives Matter by not being here today.
So Democrats weren't there, but a statement from at least one Democrat congressman out of Chicago, Danny Davis, he said that it was obviously misguided because he says crime rates are gone down, including shootings and murders by 10 or 11% or so. But Davis went on to say that this is very interesting, quote, when all of us should be in Washington trying to make sure that the government does not shut down because we have not reached an agreement on a budget at least a continuing resolution. Davis went on to say a forum at the FOP headquarters will not change their budget proposal. That will hurt students, seniors, and rural communities, undermine law enforcement, and in probability spark an increase in crime. So that's at least one Democrat's response as to why Democrats weren't there at this hearing, a traveling hearing, raising the issue of violent crime in Chicago. So will anything come of it? Of course, the question was, why is Congress getting involved here? Even Matt Gaetz, he said when he tapped in remotely that essentially Chicago and other cities where violent crime is increasing should be a bellwether for other cities to realize what is not working, according to Gaetz, saying that these soft on crime policies are bad for public safety. So interesting to hear those conversations happening in Chicago. And obviously we'll see if it produces any change in direction. But it's, again, Congress highlighting the issues of violent crime. All right, got to take a break. Coming back. Recent reporting we've done of judicial ethics, the Illinois Supreme Court making it into a university's review of judicial integrity. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next here on WMAY at 6:35. I'm Greg Bishop, and here's some headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story, Lincoln Memorial Hospital Community Health and Brightpoint will partner to offer a free simulated experience aimed at increasing understanding of domestic violence. Participants will receive a character and walk through the experience, making decisions based on their character's circumstances and available resources. The free event will be held as an open house on Wednesday, October 4th at Lincoln Park District. More information is available at WMAY.com. Workers at small businesses with between 5 and 15 employees are eligible for retirement plans, but their employers must sign up by November the 1st. Employees can sign up for either the state-sponsored Illinois Secure Choice Retirement Program or with a private retirement plan. Secure Choice accounts by default are target date Roth IRAs and are portable from job to job. The state of Illinois is following a national trend of rising pedestrian and cyclist deaths along roadways. Analysts have noted that this coincides with a steep increase in sales of SUVs, pickup trucks, and vans, which are more likely to kill or seriously injure a pedestrian when involved in a crash. Sales of these vehicles accounted for 78% of new U.S. vehicle sales in 2022, according to MotorIntelligence.com. The rate of pedestrian deaths in Illinois has risen more than 50% since 2010. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum received an original 1858 photograph of Lincoln made while he was campaigning for the U.S. Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. Lincoln gifted the photo to a shopkeeper named Charles Lame, who had been severely injured while testing a cannon to be fired during a campaign stop in Pittsfield. The image, technically known as an ambrotype, had remained in the family for nearly 170 years when some of his descendants decided to donate it to the Presidential Library in Springfield. It's only Wednesday, but it's already been a bad week for a couple of national political figures. New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez is now facing calls from about half of Senate Democrats, including fellow New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker, to resign after being indicted for corruption. And a judge in New York has found that former President Donald Trump committed fraud for years by exaggerating the value of his assets in order to receive favorable financing. Illinois is about to receive nearly $140 million from the federal government to clean up the state's drinking water. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth authored the Drinking Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Act, which will deliver the money to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. Illinois leads the nation in known lead service lines, and the federal support will help Illinois EPA remove and replace dangerous lead pipes. The investment will also help remove and prevent contaminants, including harmful forever chemicals, in Illinoisans' drinking water. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Looking for a bank that's more than just a place to keep your money? Clock Tower Community Bank, a division of Morton Community Bank, combines your love of community with trusted financial expertise. Local people making local decisions for local successes. With full-service personal and business banking and lending of all types, Clock Tower Community Bank is everything you want in a community bank. Stop by one of our 6 convenient locations in Springfield and Chatham today, or visit us on the web at hometownbanks.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Chance for scattered storms today, otherwise cloudy skies. High of 77, winds out of the west 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies. Tonight, lows dip down to about 59. High of 78. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday, with highs from the low 80s to the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 62.
Weather sponsored by Lauterbach Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager for Midwest Family Springfield. Are you the one person I'm looking for to help further build our media sales team at Midwest Family Springfield? We are the premier multimedia marketing company that no other company compares to in the Springfield area. It's really simple. I need one sales leader, a brand ambassador whose talent and team focus will thrive working with Midwest Family. Are you passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive? Are you an overachiever, a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have the skill set for today's digital marketing? And do you believe in growing lasting partnerships? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, you'll be challenged, you'll be trained, and you'll have access to world-class tools like HubSpot CRM. Are you the one I'm looking for? If so, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Lauterbach man here, proudly standing above my busy 7 bays on Wabash. The view from here is amazing. I've been looking at our wonderful city for decades upon decades. Many things have changed, but other things have not. We love Abe. We aren't shy about covering things in cheese, then adding toast, then cheese, then fries, then cheese, then, well, you know what I'm talking about. And the thing I'm most proud of, the thousands and thousands of cars that are driving safely thanks to our talented Lauterbach technicians. Cars going from the airport to the universities, from North Dirksen to South Veterans, crisscrossing from farmland to downtown, waving at tourists and trusted politicians. Abe. And if Abe were here today, he'd say, "Who's the tall guy?" And I'd say, "I'm Lauterbach Man, and I'm at your service." And if an imaginary Abe Lincoln driving a car can trust us, you can too. Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. Drive safely now.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Judicial ethics, the topic of a recent law school's publication about, what's happening in their state and beyond. And some of our reporting on judicial ethics here in Illinois getting a footnote when talking about the problems of judicial recusal. This coming from the University of Wisconsin Law School. We'll touch on that in a moment, but just a flashback 6 months ago, if you recall, I asked Governor J.B. Pritzker about his $1 million to each of 2 Supreme Court justice candidates during the 2022 election, and then those justices being on the bench to decide cases that were brought forward challenging laws that Governor J.B. Pritzker signed, being the Safety Act, which was challenged, but also the gun and magazine ban that was challenged, and the recusal request from the plaintiffs there being denied by the justices in question, Elizabeth Rochford and Mary O'Brien, and by the Supreme Court in its entirety, saying they didn't have the power to keep a justice from hearing a case. So we'll touch on what this explainer from the state's Democracy Research Initiative out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. But flashing back 6 months ago when I asked the governor about his campaign contributions to these Supreme Court justice candidates, and his response was rather fascinating, and I just wanted to re-air that for you here as we get ready to talk about this. Explain the $1 million that you gave to each Supreme Court justices, and should they recuse themselves in 2 important cases coming up, Safety Act, no cash bail, and also the gun ban?
I am sure this is something that the right wing is trying to stir up. I know you've written about it. The fact of the matter is I supported candidates who are running all across the board. If you're suggesting that the fact that I gave money to, let's say, the Democratic Party or to the committees that supported candidates means that everybody who received any money has to recuse themselves from anything to do with the state of Illinois, that's ridiculous. And I've certainly never asked anybody to vote a certain way or decide on a case a certain way. I would never do that. I never have. I never will. And these are independent judges, and they didn't go around and campaign on things, that they thought would win my support for them. I believe in them. I supported them like lots of other people did. Thank you.
Again, the governor addressing the question directly, saying that to have these justices recuse themselves because he gave some political donations is, quote, ridiculous. But is it ridiculous? You've got the University of Wisconsin-Madison looking into this and having some interesting things to say about judge recusal in general. And shout out to President Non-FUD on Twitter, who found this. And it was published earlier this month, an explainer, judicial recusal in Wisconsin and beyond. And it goes through a bunch of different issues, recusals in Wisconsin, but they also look at recusals in other state and federal courts. And also looking at, for instance, here in Illinois, where you've got the recusal of the request recusal in a firearms-related litigation. So we'll go ahead and click on that just to read what they have here. So firearms-related litigation in Illinois. Illinois provides a recent example of a high-profile recusal dispute involving campaign contributions and activities. In early 2023, the state enacted an assault weapons ban that was immediately challenged in court. The matter made it to the Illinois Supreme Court, where the plaintiffs filed a motion asking 2 recently elected justices, Mary Kay O'Brien and Elizabeth Rochford, to recuse themselves. There's a link here to a footnote, and just to do some bragging a bit, I guess. The footnote goes to a story that I wrote for the Center Square about that motion that Dan Calkins' attorney filed to have these 2 justices recuse themselves, and that was way back in March of this year, if you recall. But it goes on to say, The motion highlighted large campaign contributions that each judicial justice had received from the governor and the Speaker of the House, who were named defendants in the lawsuits. Each justice's campaign had received $500,000 from the governor's campaign committee and $500,000 from the governor's personal trust. Additionally, one of the justices had received a $350,000 contribution from the Speaker's campaign committee, while the other justice received a $150,000 contribution. According to the motion, these contributions amounted to more than a third of the total campaign funds that each candidate raised. The motion also cited a joint statement from two pro-gun safety political action committees that celebrated the two justices' election victories and had suggested that the candidates indicated that they supported banning assault weapons and large capacity magazines in Illinois. Both justices declined to recuse in separate responses. In Justice Rochford's response, she noted that the campaign contributions she received were within the state's campaign finance limits. She also addressed the plaintiff's claim that her participation would create the appearance of political influence, reasoning that such a standard would be unworkable as judges would constantly have to recuse themselves. She also cited a 2014 matter in which the Illinois Supreme Court Justice Lloyd Carmeier declined to recuse himself from a matter involving tobacco giant Philip Morris, the parent company of which had contributed $500,000 in the justice's campaign. Carmeier had written, when judges are elected, as the Illinois Constitution requires, it is inevitable and equally appropriate that interest groups will support judges whose judicial philosophy they believe are most closely aligned with their views. The system would come to a grinding halt if contributions by organizations and interest groups were sufficient to force a judge to recuse himself or herself in any case which the member of the group was a party. Members of the courts would be prevented from hearing a substantial number of cases from the entire duration of their terms. They were elected by voters to serve, and the court's ability to do its work would be compromised, Carmeier said. So the particular paper here from the Wisconsin-Madison University, Justice O'Brien's response took a similar tone, and like Justice Rochford, Justice O'Brien approvingly quoted Justice Carmeier's order declining to recuse from the Philip Morris matter, writing, rumor, speculation, belief, collusion, conclusion, suspicion, opinion, or similar non-factual matter are not sufficient to require recusal. A judge is as much obliged not to recuse himself when it is not called for as he's obliged to when it is. So interesting to see this. Again, you've got the issue of judge recusal and judicial ethics being highlighted in a different state by looking at Illinois in particular. And if you get an interest to look this up, again, it's called Explainer, Judicial Recusal in Wisconsin and Beyond. You can go and read that and read some of the background and the findings and so forth. So interesting to see that. And of course, it's always fascinating to see how far work that I do might penetrate into other areas and how it's used as source material for ongoing investigations. So I just wanted to share that a little bit with you. By the way, no update on the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals and their hearing of the state's gun and magazine ban. Once that happens, we'll definitely be getting that out to you so you are in the know. All right, it's Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY, now 6:51. We'll just review some of the headlines about Trump, about Biden, and beyond. All right, stay tuned. 6:51 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Work with a team that cares about being the best part of the customer's day. Apply today at Culver's West on Wabash.
Clock Tower Community Bank, a division of Morton Community Bank, is more than just a place to keep your money. They care about you, your family, your favorite business, and the charities you support. Clock Tower Community Bank offers a full range of personal and business banking services. With 6 convenient locations in Springfield and Chatham, our experienced local bankers are here for you in every way. They're local people making local decisions for local success. So if you're looking for a bank that's everything you want in a community bank, visit Clock Tower Community Bank today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's Breeze Airways, the seriously nice airline that wants to fly you to your next vacation. Fly nonstop from Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport in Springfield to Orlando and Tampa Bay, faster and easier than ever before. We don't charge change or cancellation fees, so you can book with complete peace of mind. Go to flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
Take the easy way out.
When your people are ready, your business is ready. Cintas makes sure they have what they need to perform their best. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, fire protection systems that are tested and inspected, first aid and safety supplies, floor mats, or cleaning tools and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together, so visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store. Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
If your computer screen is showing some unusual stuff, it could be the result of all of those downloads, Zoom meetings, spreadsheets, or just all of those system updates. It may be time for some badly needed repairs. With a flat labor fee and in-stock parts included, repairing your computers is easy at BLH Computers. Check out BLH Computers in Taylorville, Jacksonville, also in Springfield, and always online at blhcomputers.com.
Why do residents love Springfield Supportive Living? Just ask Mike.
I am so glad that I came here. I really appreciate that they have Wi-Fi here because I like playing on my tablet and looking up things and playing games, and I'm just happy that they have that.
With an experienced staff every step of the way.
I get along with them really well. They're a lot of fun, and it's just been a really good experience.
SpringfieldSupportiveLiving.com.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
Tons of national headlines in the ongoing national political scene, with the United Auto Workers Union continuing their strike. And yesterday, President Joe Biden appeared and said to those striking, you gave up a lot when these companies were in trouble. Now they're doing incredibly well, and guess what? You should be doing incredibly well too. But you've got Trump, who's traveling to Michigan today to meet with workers, and he put out statements saying with Biden, it doesn't matter what hourly wages they get. In 3 years, there will be no auto worker jobs as they will be coming out of China and other countries. He went on to say Crooked Joe should be ashamed to show his face before these hardworking Americans that he is stabbing in the back. He also went on to say Joe Biden's draconian and indefensible electric vehicle mandates will annihilate the U.S. auto industry and count costless thousands of jobs from the auto workers trade. The only thing Biden can do today is that would help the striking workers is to announce an immediate termination of his ridiculous mandate. Anything else is just a feeble and insulting attempt to distract American labor from this vicious Biden betrayal. So that's Trump's statement. I imagine you'll hear similar things when he visits with auto workers. But Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Committee, he said that the relationship that the United Auto Workers Union president Sean Fain has with Democrat leaders is going to be important for them moving into the 2024 election. But we'll see how that all plays out. Of course, Mark Mix advocates for right to work in states so people aren't forced into a union. But that's not the only thing going on with the questions of national politics. Here's a headline. Hunter Biden received payments from China wired to father's address, according to the House Oversight Committee. The wire transfers of upwards to $250,000 were made in July and August of 2019 and listed the president's Wilmington, Delaware home as the beneficiary address in both cases. That's pretty bombshell, and that's just before you have a hearing tomorrow in the House Oversight Committee for the first of the impeachment inquiry. That's not the only thing going on in national politics. Of course, ABC reported that there's a sweeping investigation of Biden's handling of classified documents, with people being interviewed in as recent as this week. But on the flip side, with Trump, New York judge has ruled that Trump's liable for fraud in New York City lawsuit. They didn't even have really a hearing on this. They just went off a brief, so a summary judgment. The New York State judge ruled that President Donald Trump and his companies are liable for fraud and ordered the dissolution of some of those companies. Unbelievable, uncharted territory that we are in, but obviously something we're going to have to contend with moving into the 2024 election. So we'll likely be talking about that in the future, no question. All right, stay tuned. Coming back, the council roundup. They talked about crime. They also talked about contracts for auto parts for Consolidated City Garage. So stay tuned. We'll get to that and more. It's 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's news and talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Em Wynn. North Korea says it has decided to expel a U.S. soldier who crossed into the country through the demilitarized zone back in July. The North's official news agency says it has finished questioning Private Travis King, saying King confessed to illegally entering the country because he was angry at the mistreatment and racial discrimination he said he was facing in the U.S. Army. No word on when King will be expelled from North Korea. A Manhattan judge finds Donald Trump liable for fraud in vastly overstating the net worth of his businesses and properties. A few examples from ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky.
The judge found Trump inflated the value of his Fifth Avenue apartment in Trump Tower by as much as $200 million by claiming it was triple its actual size. Trump said Mar-a-Lago was worth up to $600 million, when the judge said the Palm Beach estate's assessed value was no more than $27 million.
The judge granted partial summary judgment in New York Attorney General Letitia James's multi-million-dollar civil fraud lawsuit, which heads to trial next week. An attorney for former President Trump says they will immediately appeal, calling the Trump administration an American success story. In court today, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez, who will enter a plea alongside his wife. They're both facing federal corruption and bribery charges. The Federal Trade Commission and more than a dozen states are filing a new lawsuit against Amazon, saying it's not playing fair.
The $1.3 trillion company is accused of prioritizing search results for its own products and coercing sellers to use Amazon's fulfillment service. Amazon firing back, defending its practices and saying if the FTC gets its way, the result would be fewer products to choose from, higher prices, slower deliveries for consumers, and reduced options for small businesses.
This is ABC News.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Last night was a Springfield City Council Committee of the Whole, and as we do each and every week on Wednesdays after a Tuesday meeting, we review what happened and the discussions that were being had. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next year on WMAY with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. It's now 7:03.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story, the strike by Hollywood screenwriters is over. Writers were free to work starting at 12:01 a.m. today. Actors are still on strike, and no negotiations are set between the actors and the Alliance of Studios, Streaming Services, and Producers. Industry insiders believe that late night and daytime talk shows will likely be the first to resume. The Biden administration has announced more than $1.4 billion in grants to improve railroad safety, with much of the money coming from the 2021 infrastructure law. The appropriation comes at a time when Congress has called for safety reforms after a couple of high-profile derailments this year, but has yet to pass any new regulations. 2 projects in Illinois will receive funding, one in Cook County and one on the Keokuk Junction Railway, for a total of $18 million. The state of Illinois is following a national trend of rising pedestrian and cyclist deaths along roadways. Analysts have noted that this coincides with a steep increase in sales of SUVs, pickup trucks, and vans, which are more likely to kill or seriously injure a pedestrian when involved in a crash. Sales of these vehicles accounted for 78% of new U.S. vehicle sales in 2022, according to MotorIntelligence.com. The rate of pedestrian deaths in Illinois has risen more than 50% since 2010. The federal government is heading for another shutdown. The Senate released a bipartisan bill Tuesday evening to avert a shutdown, but passage of a bill in time in the House is uncertain. Republican hardliners in the House object to additional funding for Ukraine in the amount of $6.2 billion, as well as short-term funding extensions, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy probably doesn't have the votes to pass the measure in its current form. Aid to Ukraine represents less than 1% of the 2023 Pentagon budget. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com.
Clean Impact Commercial Cleaning. We'll clean your office.
Clean Impact. We'll clean your early childhood development center.
Clean Impact. We'll clean your school. Clean Impact will clean your medical facility.
To start a conversation, visit cleanimpactllc.com today.
Clean Impact Commercial Cleaning, a local, family-owned cleaning company serving all your commercial cleaning needs.
Now at Staples, the prices of HP printers are dropping. Save on HP Smart Tank and enjoy even more savings on ink. Save on the HP Inkjet, perfect for high-quality pics. Save on HP laser printers, great for tackling high-volume document printing. Now through September 30th, save on Staples' entire selection of HP printers, some as low as $69.99. With HP printer price drops at Staples, now is the time to upgrade to HP, America's most trusted printer brand. See staples.com/HP for details.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Overcast skies today with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Highs around 77. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows around 59. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times again. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 78. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 80s to the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 61.
Clock Tower Community Bank is everything you want in a community bank. Local people making local decisions for local success. With 6 convenient locations in Springfield and Chatham, our experienced local bankers are here for you in every way, from opening a checking account to getting a loan. And because we're local, we share the commitment to the success and future of our community. Visit Clock Tower Community Bank today. Clock Tower Community Bank, a division of Morton Community Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Now it's time for Greg Bishop and the Council Roundup.
Where each and every Wednesday we review things happening at the Springfield City Council, where I know some of you don't live here, but if you visit here, especially if you live in the area, you're shopping, you're putting tax dollars into city coffers. So it's a way for you to know how those tax dollars are doing. But also for those of you living in Springfield, it's good to get that review from last night's Springfield City Council meeting. And it was a committee of the whole where they were determining what ordinances are controversial and need to go on debate and what ordinances are non-controversial going on the consent agenda for final passage next week. And they had a bunch of stuff they tackled, and they did it within an hour. The meeting was only an hour long, but we got a lot to tackle. They dealt with ordinances dealing with CWLP. They dealt with public works. There were several workers' comp issues in there, even a measure about the age limits for police and supplemental appropriation for police and so on. So a lot of different ordinances that they put on the consent agenda, but one in particular raised some debates, and here's how that played out in the situation of the ability for the city to purchase some vehicles.
An ordinance authorizing purchase of a used grapple truck from the various selected vendors
or a comparable vendor for an amount not to exceed $290,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
So obviously, they need Public Works vehicles that work and aren't always in the shop. Here is Alderman Hanauer with questions about why buy used vehicles.
Well, I just was wondering, what's the difference between a new truck and a used truck?
A couple of years.
Well,
that one's available.
Cost-wise.
A couple years.
I knew I was going to get that.
So it was Alderman Redpath with that zinger there. But the purchasing agent explains.
It's a considerable amount to the point that we've really only looked at used.
Okay.
They're much more expensive. But we do use these all the time. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we have 3. They're all pretty old, kind of beat up, and 2 of them were down for much more than routine maintenance for 10 days, and we got behind. So this is definitely something that we could use. We could use it every single day.
So obviously they've got things that are down. They need them now. Alderman Hanauer.
I'm not against it. I just was, if the difference in cost wasn't that much more, I would recommend a new one because, with the used, we may run into some issues. So
it's considerable.
So it's considerable, they say. So obviously they are moving forward with that. Another ordinance that was up for debate deals with Napa Auto Parts being the sole parts distributor for the city of Springfield's Consolidated Garage. I remember covering this back in the day. The Consolidated Garage was an effort from former budget director Bill McCarty, who said that it would be better and more streamlined if indeed you had a consolidated facility for all of the city's various equipment. You got Public Works, CWLP, police, fire. All of these different, pieces of equipment, from small pieces to big pieces and so on. The idea was you could streamline and save money by having a consolidated garage instead of each one of these departments having their own maintenance facility. And in order to provide some kind of, certainty for parts, they decided to give a contract to Napa Auto Parts over others in order to be the exclusive provider of those parts. So that contract's done. They're trying to get another contract with Napa approved. That came up several weeks ago, but that's stuck in committee. So they had a measure with an extension, a short-term extension of the previous contract, just so they can at least pay their bills. Here's how that played out with Alderwoman Conley asking some questions.
So it looks like this is just a little carve-out of the ordinance that we have that's being held in committee. Can
Yes
I
and
get a
no.
little bit of, okay,
This is actually an extension of the previous agreement
Sure.
with Napa it's a 2-month extension. So the new contract still remains in committee for discussion.
So Alderwoman Conley had more questions.
are you looking at bringing a new changes to the existing ordinance that's being held, or what?
That I don't know.
Another official got up to talk more detail about the contract extension.
This is to pay the bills for August and September. We have already purchased the parts, but we have no spending authority to buy the parts.
So they've got the parts, they purchased, they just haven't purchased them yet.
Moving forward, are we looking at alternatives to the existing structure, or is that, has there been any conversation around that at all?
No, we are not looking at any other venture at this point because we were waiting for the RFP to be authorized.
Okay.
We did have 2 vendors that bid on that RFP, and we took the lowest cost to the city, which just so happened to be Motor Parts and the engine company. So they're willing to go month to month with us as long as we pay our bills.
So willing to go month by month. Alderman Rockford had some questions.
My concern, and it's been my concern when I was a supervisor with the city, that when we bring automobiles down to have them repaired, that we had to wait for parts. If we have a parts store in our garage, what's the holdup?
So Rockford asking an important question there. What's going on with the parts that are being ordered? Why the delays?
So we are paying for the parts that we've used. We have had a significant backup as far as lead time for ordering new parts, Larry, of course, along with the supply chain issues and challenges we've had since COVID-19. For example, we were put on a waiting list for an engine from Ford Motor Company, and They had 2 engines become available. The state of Illinois got one and we got one. We used that engine. So it was on order for over 10 months.
So just giving examples of supply chain issues and so on, more on the back and forth of this extension of the Napa contract?
Wait time to get the parts in, and we don't pay for a part until we use it. So once the parts are in, we're installing them in the vehicles or whatever type of equipment we ordered parts for, and as soon as they're installed, then we put the vehicle back in service.
But you said you're waiting from Ford Motor Company.
Yes.
This is Napa Auto Parts.
Exactly.
It's apples and oranges. I'm talking brake pads, rotors. I'm talking simple parts that. Why don't we? And I can use.
So clearly, Rockford has continued questions and concerns.
Why don't we go to other vendors if they don't have the parts available? I know it's under contract, but are we supposed to sit and wait? And put people. We got people sitting around doing nothing because they don't have the equipment.
Okay.
So we're kind of in a bind.
So Rockford just saying, hey, we need more assurance here. What's going on? Here's the official response from the city official here.
I'm not aware of any time that we could have bought a part at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. In fact, O'Reilly's bid on the last contract. They weren't successful because they were a higher cost to the city. So each time we've issued an RFP, we've had multiple vendors for the contract. And in the due diligence on our part, we try to pick the one that has the lowest cost for the city and the best service. When you change vendors, we have to either move everything out of the parts room that Napa owns, or we have to buy it. So that puts us at a disadvantage, and it shuts down our operation while that changeover is being made. They will buy parts if they're available from O'Reilly's. They will buy parts from any other vendor that has the part, and they will source them at hopefully the lowest cost. Our RFP would have lowered our cost already by 1%. 1% doesn't sound like a lot of money, but over the time of the contract, it is. So it would save us approximately $18,000 a month. So by us extending this vote on the RFP, it's costing us more money because we're paying 7% on top of the cost now. The first RFP will bring our costs down.
So again, this is all part of a consolidated garage that was implemented, like a decade ago, it feels like. Alderman Redpath had concerns about it then.
I've never been a fan of the city garage. I think it's a white elephant. It's a high administrative cost. I've always thought the way we used to do business in the city when each department did their own maintenance was more efficient. I'm hoping that the administration takes a look at this and does a comprehensive examination on keeping the garage or finding a different way to do business. I'm not a fan, and I'm not opposed to this ordinance because I know we got to pay the bills. But we need to do something with that garage.
So what's going to happen? Is the administration going to look at maybe breaking up that consolidated garage and putting it back into specific departments? You got to consider, the footprints of the garage and so on. Alderman Hanauer with the final word.
If we can save, you said $18,000 a month on parts, if we go with the RFP that we're currently on hold with, I think that we need to move forward with it. And then if the administration decides to do something with the garage or make a change or whatever, then we deal with it at that time. But if we can save money, it's ridiculous that we're not doing that. And it's going to take a long time to study the garage and all that. And I just think we ought to get the other one and pull it out and be done with it and save us the $18,000 a month. That's pretty substantial.
So we'll see what they have to say about this next week. Obviously, pretty contentious issue, and just overall the questions of the consolidated garage efforts. More coming up of the Council Roundup. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY, now 721 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health: meditation. It starts with proper breathing. By breathing in slowly for 5 or 10 seconds and exhaling, counting the same way, for just a few minutes each day has been a big deal for many people as they reach a new level of relaxation. Now, that's just a start. If your feelings of depression and hopelessness are accentuated with drugs and alcohol, then you may need some professional help. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychiatrists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Gateway also uses meditation as a key component of their successful treatment. Your insurance covers the cost, and the Family Medical Leave Act protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine, saving lives. Why do residents love Springfield Supportive Living? Just ask Mike.
I am so glad that I came here. I really appreciate that they have Wi-Fi here because I like playing on my tablet and looking up things and playing games, and I'm just happy that they have that.
With an experienced staff every step of the way.
I get along with them really well. They're a lot of fun, and it's just been a really good experience.
SpringfieldSupportiveLiving.com.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Is it really already the end of the month? I can't believe it. September almost over? Well, don't let the end of the month blues get to you, because it's not a blue time over at Green Hyundai. They're actually looking to get you into a new ride, which is going to make everything bright and shiny. Mike, tell us what's going on over at Green Hyundai.
Yeah, September to remember. That's what we're doing out here. It'll be our last September for new Hyundais to be sold at the Dirksen Parkway facility in front of good old J.C. Penney's as we begin to look into moving in to that all-new Hyundai store on November the 1st. So, guys, we got over 110 new Hyundais on the ground, and they're pre-striked price. What I mean is this automobile strike is going to affect new car pricing, no question, no matter what happens, whether it lasts 2 days, 2 months, 2 weeks, it will affect the price of vehicles. So come out and see us, get these cars while they're low priced, rebates available on many vehicles up to $3,000 on select Hyundai Santa Fe's. And 1.9%. Interest rates haven't been going down. They've been going up. So get that 1.9 now on select vehicles with approved credit. So Green Hyundai, 1200 South Dirksen Parkway. It's the September to remember, end of the month closeout. So we've been really busy, 20 new cars in the last 2 days, Greg. So come on out and see us, folks. Green Hyundai.
Mike Quimby, Green Hyundai. Have a great day.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
Some people would call him a loser. He ran for state office. He was beaten. He started a business. He failed. He ran for Congress. He lost. He was nominated for vice president. He lost again. But he knew only those who never tried are the real losers. And Abraham Lincoln was no loser. Persistence. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. New Pepto Kids gummies helps relieve occasional stomach upsets, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for new Pepto Kids gummies. Fast support for little tummies.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Ever notice how other stores that sell mattresses have middlemen that are so meddling?
With their extra costs and overpricing, at Verlo, there is no middleman. Verlo builds all their own mattresses, then sells directly to you, so you get higher quality for the lowest price. No greedy extra charges for things that have nothing to do with your mattress. Some people call that consumer direct pricing. I just call it smart. Wake up. Sleep better. Verlo.
Most mattress manufacturers build only mattresses that cannot be flipped. To keep costs low, they resort to using cheaper foam, which breaks down quicker and eventually leaves your mattress with a body impression. At Verlo, we put better quality components into our single-sided mattresses. We back them with the best guarantees in the industry. Stop in and see us this month and you'll get second-side savings. If you choose a double-sided mattress, we'll double your savings. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
Get $500 off with second side savings now at Verlo.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
Back with the Council Roundup, Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And Committee of the Whole last night, about an hour long, but still plenty to tackle. And getting right back on into it, you had new and unfinished business, where Alderwoman Connolly wanted to make sure that it was made clear how historic it was with a recent recruit to the Springfield Fire Department. Here's Alderwoman Connolly.
Fairly historical to see not just another woman joining, but an African-American woman. So congratulations. We're looking forward to more of the same. And preemptive congratulations to the police department, people who will be sworn in. Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Won't be able to make that one either. Chief, I was just saying congratulations to your new officers too. Welcome them and thank them for joining the city.
So in new and unfinished business, not too much other stuff, but they did have citizens address the council, including a business owner on the east side of town who raised some concerns.
Hi, I'm Jim Kroll. I'm the general manager of S&K Buick GMC, 1400 South Dirksen Parkway. I wanted to come before you tonight and just talk about conditions over on our side of town are kind of worsening as far as crime, as far as drug use. We've got a couple motels that are around us which are causing us quite a bit of problem. We got the Midtown Inn, which is right directly behind us. We've got the Red Roof Inn, and unfortunately they are magnets for drug use, prostitution, crime, and it's a constant thing that I've been combating for 5 years, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I need help, because I can't do it alone anymore. Just on Friday, which is the reason I'm here, I've got an employee, great employee, does a great job. So we leave the back door open on the parts department. Somebody from the motel walks into the building, goes to the lockers, opens his locker, takes his car key, gets in his car, leaves, goes to his house, robs his house, right? And what do I say to this employee? Now, we're on the east side, okay? We're staying on the east side. Everyone else has left. Hyundai's moving. We've invested $1.5 million in the past 2 years in the facility. We're staying, but I can't combat this by myself anymore. Look, we go through the lot and pick up trash. We go through the lot and pick up hypodermic needles. You know, I got people who are drugged up wandering into the showroom that I have to ask to leave. And I get threatened at least once a month. You know, I'm tired of playing bouncer. So what I'm requesting is that we have more of a police presence on that side of town. And we need a long-term plan to fix it. I mean, I've been watching it for 5 years just get worse. And the pandemic just escalated things, just made it worse. I mean, our issue on that side of town is not homelessness. It's not it. It's not about poverty. It's the drug use and the crime. And we got to fix it. I mean, we fully intend on staying exactly where we are. But I wanted to come before you tonight to tell you that we have a serious issue over there, and I need help fixing it.
So we'll hear the response from various aldermen and even the police chief jumping in to share their thoughts. That's coming back here with the Council Roundup. I'm Greg Bishop, Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. 7:32, and let's check some headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. The state of Illinois is following a national trend of rising pedestrian and cyclist deaths along roadways. Analysts have noted that this coincides with a steep increase in sales of SUVs, pickup trucks, and vans, which are more likely to kill or seriously injure a pedestrian when involved in a crash. Sales of those vehicles accounted for 78% of new U.S. vehicle sales in 2022, according to MotorIntelligence.com. The rate of pedestrian deaths in Illinois has risen more than 50% since 2010. The strike by Hollywood screenwriters is over after union leadership approved a contract agreement with studios. Writers were free to work starting at 12:01 a.m. today. Actors are still on strike, and no negotiations are set between the actors and the Alliance of Studios, streaming services, and producers. Industry insiders believe that late-night and daytime talk shows will likely be the first to resume. Lincoln Land Community College invites the public to a haunted house called Fear 101 during October weekends, sponsored by the LLCC Police Department. Students from construction and art classes assisted in building and decorating the haunted house, which is located in the lower level of Sangamon Hall South on the LLCC campus. The evening haunted house is recommended for ages 13 and up. More information at WMAY.com. Members of the College Football Playoff Management Committee are meeting in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont today to hammer out the details of next year's expanded playoff field. The playoff is set to expand from 4 to 12 teams next year, but the implosion of the Pac-12 has complicated matters. The current model assumes the existence of 6 Power 5 athletic conferences in football, but 10 of the 12 members of the West Coast League have announced plans to leave next year, making its status as a Power 5 league very much up in the air. The federal government is heading for another shutdown. The Senate released a bipartisan bill Tuesday evening to avert a shutdown, but passage of a bill in time in the House is uncertain. Republican hardliners in the House object to additional funding for Ukraine in the amount of $6.2 billion, as well as short-term funding extensions, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy probably doesn't have the votes to pass the measure in its current form. Aid to Ukraine represents less than 1% of the 2023 Pentagon budget. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum received an original 1858 photograph of Lincoln made while he was campaigning for the U.S. Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. Lincoln gifted the photo to a shopkeeper named Charles Lame, who had been severely injured while testing a cannon to be fired during a campaign stop in Pittsfield. The image, technically known as an ambrotype, had remained in the family for nearly 170 years when some of his descendants decided to donate it to the Presidential Library in Springfield. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
One of the easiest things you can do to prevent getting stranded tomorrow is check your battery today. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery. If you can take about 5 minutes out of your day, we can make absolutely sure your car battery is ready before winter. Just pull into Rex, and we'll not only test the battery, but we'll make sure your alternator is doing its important job. Just because your car is running well now doesn't mean it's going to start when the temp drops. If you find your battery is near the end of its life, Rex Battery has car batteries for every make and model on the road. And more often than not, we have them for less than other places. Batteries are all we do, and we want to make sure yours is strong before winter hits. Just pull into Rex Battery anytime and ask for a free battery test. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
X with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Overcast skies today with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Highs around 77, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows around 59. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 78. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 80s to the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 61.
I think what people want from their doctors, as much as anything, is a partner in their care. I'm Dr. Chris McDowell, a physician with SIU Medicine. Our clinical excellence is unmatched in the region. We're home to the latest technology, the best people. But what sets us apart is our commitment to our patients. Being there for them as a partner, a supporter, as an advocate, and even a neighbor. That's what makes SIU Medicine so unique. Learn more at siumed.org.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
If your computer screen is showing some unusual stuff, it could be the result of all of those downloads, Zoom meetings, spreadsheets, or just all of those system updates. It may be time for some badly needed repairs. With a flat labor fee and in-stock parts included, repairing your computers is easy at BLH Computers. Check out BLH Computers in Taylorville, Jacksonville, also in Springfield, and always online at blhcomputers.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
Back with the Council Roundup, last night's Committee of the Whole, tackling a whole bunch of stuff, including citizens addressing the committee. Before the break, we heard from Jim Crawl. He owns a car dealer over on the east side of town on South Dirksen Parkway. And he shared a harrowing story of, they leave the back door of one of their facilities open during the day, and somebody from a local motel came in, went to a locker of an employee, got into the locker, took the things out of the locker, including car keys, took the employee's vehicle, and then went to that person's home and robbed the home. Just an incredible story, but he's asking for more help. He says that this is just unsustainable and things have actually gotten worse. Alderman Sean Gregory, as chair of the Committee of the Whole, addressing some of those concerns.
We do have an economic development director, poised to take that position. I think that's going to help us really move forward on various things, including, situations like that. But for the meantime, in an immediate time, I think we need to work together with our police to really try to curb some of that. Me and Alderman Williams, I'm sure, is fully aware of the issues on the east side, and we'll do all we can to work with you. And we really appreciate you coming in and delivering this information to us. Thank you.
And Alderman Williams also chiming in, making sure that it's clear as to the jurisdictions that are involved here.
We are Springfield addresses. The two facilities that you're speaking of, the two hotels,
Because over there, we go in and out as far as county, city, which is part of my challenge. But everybody's city that you're describing, your business and the 2 hotels. And the second thing is, Chief, do we have numbers on the amount of calls or how often you have to go to these 2 hotels? I am aware, and I fight with a lot of segments of the community because, as they tell me, people got to live somewhere. So these transitional, temporary, rent by the hour, I don't know what you call them, living arrangements. Have you got a lot of calls on these places?
Certainly, those are frequent
Police
addresses
Chief
that we're well aware of.
Ken
and
Scarlett.
A lot of that boils down to the activity that's allowed to take place in there as far as the management goes in the hotels, and that's something that I think as we continue to increase our manpower, our neighborhood police officer unit gets back to full strength, our drug enforcement unit gets back to full strength. This certainly areas that we need to focus on. That area over there has been an issue ever since I was a police officer, actually out on the street. So, yes.
So the concerns are these hotels, there's a lot of drug use, prostitution, and just other criminal behavior spilling over into the business. More from Alderman Williams.
People have a right to walk to the store and come to the store, but if they're dropping things off in your lot and then robbing you, that's a whole different scenario. So I guess we all can get together and up maybe the manpower or the overseeing of the area.
I think we need to get together and determine our focus and our plan with the operators of the hotel to say we're not going to allow this type of nefarious activity in our city, regardless of where it's at. To me, that's the problem. It's bred in there and it's allowed to happen, and that's something that we need to shut down, whether that's through code enforcement or extra patrol from my agency, whatever the case may be. But yes, let's definitely get together. I'll get with Mr. Kroll and we'll talk.
Alderman Hanauer says it's not just over on the east side that they're hearing problems at some of these hotels.
We have other hotels around town that are having the same problem. I know of one in Ward 10 that I'm hearing that there's a lot of issues at. And we need to look at this from the hotel owner's perspective. And if they're going to allow, if it's going to be a situation where we're constantly having to go and deal with issues like this and drug overdoses and whatnot, then maybe we need to enact something up here to where we have kind of like a nuisance type situation, because it's just not fair. It's not fair to the businesses around. It's not fair, and it's just the hotel owners. They don't want to do their own policing.
So some questions there of what kind of policies they could put in place to curb this type of behavior. You got to consider, limiting hotel stays to only those who are there for a full 24 hours or something. I don't know. More from the police chief.
Appearance sakes, I did a little bit of research before the meeting that crime in Springfield compared to this time last year, or this long through the year, this year is down 1.78%. So although we see what's going on around our nation, around our state, here in Springfield, crime is actually down. That doesn't mean that we don't have pockets that we need to focus on, and we'll certainly do that. But I want to get that message out there and make that very clear.
Now, the business owner, Jim Crawl, he also shared just some of his response to what's going on with this conversation and how it needs to be addressed.
The response times a lot of times aren't fantastic because most of what's happening, it's petty crimes. The unfortunate part is the petty crimes turn into bigger crimes. I spent $40,000 to put in security cameras. Do you know what it has allowed me to do? I can watch them steal from you. That's about all it's done.
That sucks.
And the police are great. They come up and take the clips of the videos, and I know that they're trying to solve stuff, but there's big crimes and there's little crimes. Somebody breaking into a car and stealing a toolbox is a fairly minor offense. The reason I really came up here is my biggest fear is eventually, with everything that's going on in the neighborhood, and when you've got people who are living back at those motels, and to be quite frank, some of them are just not all there. I mean, they are drugged. And I'm really worried someone's going to get hurt. I've got 55 people that work for me. I don't want anybody hurt.
Especially after the story he shared from Friday of somebody getting into an employee's locker, stealing their keys, going to their house and stealing from their house. Just wild.
We all know that the police department was down several officers in the past, and I think it's important for us to support the administration and the chief of police to increase our numbers. That's how you're going to fix it. We don't have enough people to go around. We need to increase that and make sure that we put emphasis on certain crimes like this. If you think about it, the owners of those hotels aren't there. They're not there. They have employees sitting there that probably someone, a young student or a senior person that needs an extra job, and they're in there doing that. They're not going to stop this. It's got to come from a consolidated effort from all of us and from working with our police department to increase their numbers and get them the tools they need to combat these crimes. So it's important that we're going to have to look at this in the budget again, because we got to continually support these guys. That's what's going to solve these kind of problems. Not going out and finding the individual person and blaming a desk clerk for why didn't you stop this? Well, that's not their job to do that. They probably have enough challenges anyway dealing with these people. So let's look at it in a bigger perspective than what we're looking at it.
Now, the business owner, after Friday, he did a little bit of his own investigation, sharing that with the council last night.
So we had this robbery on Friday where my employee's car got stolen. So I took a picture of the guy off the surveillance camera, and I decided to play junior detective and go back to the motel and show the picture around. Kind of like Columbo, only I'm taller. So I go back and I go up to the front desk and I show the picture, and she goes, "Yep. Room 241. Well, they don't take IDs. He gives a bogus name and a bogus address. Well, if you got somebody who can stay somewhere, squat there, basically, pay for a month, not have to give the real name, and go and commit all kinds of crimes, what do you care if they know where you are? They don't know who you are. I mean, I've never stayed there, but I've never stayed at a hotel that doesn't require an ID of some sort.
Yeah, every hotel I go to, that's like the first thing they ask is for my ID and then the card for incidentals, of course. Here's some response.
I don't recommend you go do that. If you don't walk back there and get hit.
You know what? Generally, I wouldn't, but look, if you steal from me, that's one thing. I'm going to be okay. But you take a guy who's a working class guy trying to pay his bills every day, and you're going to steal his way to work.
Yeah,
I was mad.
I get that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying it's not a wise move to go back there, especially if the crime's back there. That's what the police are for.
I know, but I played a cop on TV once.
I've been to scenes where people like you get beat up. So I'm just telling you. So. We got to work with our police department. We got to support them. We got to tackle the issue of the ownership doing a better job on security in their hotels.
I agree.
So we'll see where this conversation goes. I imagine you'll hear more of it. Alderman Gregory giving some final thoughts on this issue.
As a city, as a country, really have to look at drug abuse, mental health issues, and really attack those things. We could build jails all day long and throw people in them, but we'll still have these problems. So I'm happy that our police department is really focusing on that with our co-responder program. The state's giving us money, so we're working at it, really trying to get to the root causes. And for the immediate, we're going to work with our police and see if we can curb some of that. So I appreciate you bringing these matters to the committee today, and we will be in contact.
So it wasn't the only individual there talking about crime they've experienced. Another individual there saying that he had an incident with somebody coming up and actually opening fire on them, and he had all the evidence and he knew the name and he took it to people and he said, "Oh, this person's connected," and he shared that, well, they're not doing anything. They're not arresting this guy. He's worried that the guy's going to come back and do even worse, maybe even kill him, and he's demanding that police actually respond. And here's a little bit of how that played out at the tail end of last night's meeting.
Nothing. Y'all gonna let this happen? Merv, listen, chill out. He's right here. We're gonna have a conversation. What do you?
I was up there when he was up there, and I never seen a detective or the chief. I've been up there 5 times since August the 3rd. What's gonna make the difference? They ain't gonna put the handcuffs on him. They got his name, they got his registrations, they got his vehicle, they got what he wore, they got the 2 shells on the ground, they got the shot call. I mean, what else they need? Me to lay down and be shot?
He right here. This ain't a corner lot.
I'm standing in front of it.
So the police chief responds.
Yeah, I'm going to add a few things. Number one, there are 5 police reports on file reference this, and this is not the venue where we discuss our investigation, so I'm not going to get into that investigation here. I will say this, it takes probable cause to make an arrest, and we're still working through that. I don't just get to go out and arrest somebody for the sake of arresting someone. I can have a civil conversation with anyone, and we've had multiple police reports, like I said, that will be forwarded to the state's attorney's office. So the last thing I'll sit up here and allow is someone to say that myself or my officers are not doing their job, because that's absolutely ridiculous. So I'll be more than happy to talk with this gentleman when we're done here, but I'm going to make that very clear, especially those 2 guys in the back. They bust their tails day in and day out, and we'll continue to do that for every citizen of this community. So thank you.
That's your council roundup here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, where we review what happened at the Springfield City Council meeting each and every Wednesday. All right, stay tuned. We've got an event we'll tell you about coming up. You need to register for, and we've also got full disclosure with the Better Government Association. That's all on the way here right now, though. 7:53. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable weather with a high today of 76. Possibility of some showers in the early afternoon hours with a low of 58 overnight. Thursday, the high of 78. Friday, the high of 83 with sunshine. And Saturday, 85 the high with sunny skies. Right now, 62 degrees at 7:53 now. Culver's West on Wabash.
Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all shifts and all positions. Apply today in person.
Reel in everything you need to catch fish at V. Hayes Bait and Tackle, 422 South 11th Street in Springfield. Mad Cats, Crappie Monster, Zoom, Catfish Sumo, Daiwa, Zebco, Eagle Claw, Ancient Mariner, Kamagatsu, Guggen, and Skipjack. Plus, get your fishing license, even hunting license, and live bait including minnows and crickets. More inventory arriving daily. Check out their new store today. Find them on Facebook, too. Open 7 days a week, 5 a.m. until 6 p.m. V. Hayes Bait and Tackle, BHAYES. Springfield's newest edition for everything fishing.
Breaking news, that's what the Center Square does best. The stories other media outlets refuse to report, the Center Square's breaking them. All the time. Stories about government waste and political spending. Stories about partisan agendas that hijack your tax dollars. The Center Square has it all covered and delivers the biggest news to your inbox as it happens. Sign up now for your state's Center Square newsletters at thecentersquare.com. That's thecentersquare.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-989-8906 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-989-8906. That's 800-989-8906. What do you have to lose? Call 800-989-8906. Again, 800-989-8906.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-990-3434. 800-990-3434. 800-990-3434.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank. Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power. Batteries of all shapes and sizes. Excellent service, exceptional value.
They're called Motobat batteries, and we have them at Rex. Motobats are batteries for motorcycles that are powerful enough to handle all your accessories. As you add new gadgets to your motorcycle, the standard factory battery may not be enough to handle it all. The Motobat battery is designed to send enough juice to the whole motorcycle and keep you moving down the road. At Rex Battery, we have all kinds of batteries for all kinds of vehicles. The Motobat battery has a quad flex terminal design, shortening the path to the battery cable. That means you get quicker power delivery and improved starting ability. If you have a motorcycle, you need Motobat. Rex Battery on Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
I want to briefly address a comment on our Facebook live stream. Mary says, Greg's interjections and summaries are not even worthless. They distract from the actual highlights of the meeting. Mary, I appreciate your feedback, but I tell you, I get feedback on the council roundup from out of state. Somebody reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and said they're looking at trying to develop this for other communities, and they were turned on by a local listener that they met at a convention somewhere, and he said that he's searched everywhere across the entire country for a similar type of, roundup, a similar type of review, and couldn't find it, and said that I really just the only voice out there that's doing this type of thing on such a local level. Mary, I appreciate your feedback, but I tell you, there are people who are driving to work, getting updates and highlights of what's going on, and even background that I'm able to provide because I've been doing the council roundup for 12 years, 13 years or something like that. So I think it's an invaluable program, especially for the local community, because even the State Journal-Register, they're not able to write about the council meeting until a day or so afterwards because of their ridiculous deadlines to go to print. While I appreciate your feedback, Mary, there's probably a large majority of people out there who greatly appreciate the roundup and look for it, even on the podcast at WMAY.com or on the video stream. So we'll keep doing it, and if you got any other feedback, you can email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. It's 8 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville. Springfield's news and talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Em Nguyen. New information this morning on the fate of the U.S. soldier who fled into North Korea from the demilitarized zone in July. At the foreign desk, here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
North Korea is saying that it has decided to expel the American soldier Travis King after he, quote, allegedly illegally intruded into their country. This was back in July. North Korean state media saying that they have conducted an investigation and that King allegedly had ill feelings over inhumane treatment and racial discrimination within the U.S. Army.
Inching closer to a government shutdown, the Senate has come up with a short-term spending plan to avoid one. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy so far is rejecting it. The sticking point, says ABC's Stephen Portnoy, funding for the war in Ukraine.
The bipartisan bill now before the Senate would stave off a government shutdown through November 17th, but House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he and his caucus oppose the $6 billion of additional Ukraine aid in the Senate stopgap measure.
They have enough money to carry them through for the next 45 days in Ukraine. But why does that take precedence over what's happening on the border?
Up against the Sunday shutdown deadline, McCarthy now aims to pass spending bills in the House that include provisions the Senate would surely reject.
A New York judge ruling that there is overwhelming evidence that former President Donald Trump and his sons repeatedly committed fraud by inflating the value of Trump assets. The judge saying Trump lives in a fantasy world where fraudulent violations resulted in better loan and insurance terms. The FTC filing a new lawsuit against Amazon.
They're claiming that Amazon punishes vendors if they offer their products for a lower price on a competing website. They also are forcing or allegedly forcing these vendors to use their logistics, their warehousing, their shipping.
ABC's Alexis Christoforous says 17 states are joining in the lawsuit. This is ABC News.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. But right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
All right, we got another hour together. Stay tuned. Plenty to get to, including, got full disclosure after 8:30. So stay tuned for that. But coming up, we'll talk with Michael Thomas and Andrew Bartlett about an event they've got scheduled for you to register for. Fun events. It's going to be informational and entertaining. So we'll get details on that coming up. Right now, though, it's 8:04.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Illinois is about to receive nearly $140 million from the federal government to clean up the state's drinking water. Illinois leads the nation in known lead service lines, and the federal support will help Illinois EPA remove and replace dangerous lead pipes. The investment will also help remove and prevent contaminants, including harmful forever chemicals, in Illinoisans' drinking water. Lincoln Land Community College invites the public to a haunted house called Fear 101 during October weekends, sponsored by the LLCC Police Department. Students from construction and art classes assisted in building and decorating the haunted house, which is located in the lower level of Sangamon Hall South on the LLCC campus. The evening haunted house is recommended for ages 13 and up. More information at WMAY.com. Members of the College Football Playoff Management Committee are meeting in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont today to hammer out the details of next year's expanded playoff field. The playoff is set to expand from 4 to 12 teams next year, but the implosion of the Pac-12 has complicated matters. The current model assumes the existence of 6 Power 5 athletic conferences in football, but 10 of the 12 members of the West Coast League have announced plans to leave next year, making its status as a Power 5 league very much up in the air. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum received an original 1858 photograph of Lincoln made while he was campaigning for the U.S. Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. Lincoln gifted the photo to a shopkeeper named Charles Lame, who had been severely injured while testing a cannon to be fired during a campaign stop in Pittsfield. The image, technically known as an ambrotype, had remained in the family for nearly 170 years when some of his descendants decided to donate it to the Presidential Library in Springfield. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products stocked and ready when you need them.
Better workdays happen together. So visit Cintas.com
Oh, I'm ready!
and get ready for the workday.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Blood donors rock at Impact Life because saving lives is in their bones. Now, through October 31st, all donors who register to give blood will be eligible for their choice of a $10 gift card or a limited edition Blood Donors Rock long-sleeved Halloween-themed t-shirt. Give what's in your heart today and register to donate blood before October 31st. Visit our donor center on Wabash in Springfield or on Main Street in Decatur. We are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Chance for scattered thunderstorms. Today, otherwise overcast. High temperatures reach up to 77. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 59. A mix of clouds and sun again. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 78. Temperatures above average Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 80s to the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 61.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
If you want to bank safe from anywhere, get the app you can use everywhere. Your money's right in your hand. Nobody loves you like Heartland. Get a loan, pay a bill when you're on the go. Deposit that check right from your phone. Download our app and you can. Nobody loves you like Heartland. We're like a bank, but only better, 'cause you'll remember. Bank like you own the place. Heartland Credit Union.
Peggy at Springfield Supportive Living loves to stay busy.
I love the garden area. It's so peaceful, and they got the walkway, and I walk a lot. I walk 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day, at least.
And then there are Peggy's numerous hobbies.
I like to craft and sew and crochet and keep myself pretty busy, and they have a lot of activities, and I just enjoy being here.
At SpringfieldSupportiveLiving.com.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Guess who's in charge of arranging the corporate event this year? Now, where to start?
Cons Catering and Events has you covered. A quick call or visit with the experts at Cons will save you time while making you look like an excellent planner.
Well, this event is a real monster. We'll need a bunch of options.
Like a customizable menu tailored to your specific needs and preferences?
That would be one easy solution.
From full-service events like the one you're planning to drop-off catering like a quick meal to feed the office, Cons will have people complimenting you on the excellent choices.
Sounds like this is going to be a permanent addition to my job description.
Because you're not settling for anything less than extraordinary. Give Cons a call. They'll help you turn the event into a complete success as you make that lasting impression on your clients, employees, and guests.
Call Angie at 217-523-4466 or visit Cons at conshg.com to set up your corporate dining experience today.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
X with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here at Warren Boynton State Bank, we're proud to be a true community bank since 1877. We remind you that the goal of a community bank is to work together with our customers and communities to help move them forward in positive ways. When we accept your deposits, we invest that money right back into this area, into homes, farms, and small businesses. One of our primary goals is to help this community in any way we can. And because we've invested in you, our friends and neighbors, our bank is safe and sound and in business to stay. We're sincere in our care and concern for this community. Our employers, directors, and managers are people you know, people who are dedicated to making this a better place to live. Discover what a true community bank is at Warren Boynton State Bank, 3030 Spring Mill Drive in Springfield. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
If your computer screen is showing some unusual stuff, it could be the result of all of those downloads, Zoom meetings, spreadsheets, or just all of those system updates. It may be time for some badly needed repairs. With a flat labor fee and in-stock parts included, repairing your computers is easy at BLH Computers. Check out BLH Computers in Taylorville, Jacksonville, also in Springfield, and always online at blhcomputers.com.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Marilyn Nash. I like all the people here. They all treat me nice. Like since my sister moved here, it's been better because if I want to go upstairs or if I want to argue with her, I can. You know, I mean, we're sisters, right? But yeah, I like just about everything here.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
Blood donors rock at Impact Life because saving lives is in their bones. Now, through October 31st, all donors who register to give blood will be eligible for their choice of a $10 gift card or a limited edition Blood Donors Rock long-sleeved Halloween-themed t-shirt. Give what's in your heart today and register to donate blood before October 31st. Visit our donor center on Wabash in Springfield or on Main Street in Decatur. We are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Welcome back. I got a couple of guests that are going to be joining us in this segment. They're currently at our sister station across the hallway talking about an event coming up October 5th. The Don't Flinch guy is going to be there, motivational speaker as part of being a guest of the Central Illinois Customer Service Association. We're going to talk with Michael Thomas and Andrew Bartlett in just moments. Plus, coming up a little bit later on in just probably about 10 minutes or so, we're going to talk with Michelle Ownby from the Springfield Business Journal about things going on in and around the Springfield business community. Then we've got full disclosure after 8:30 for those listening on WMAY, and we'll tackle all kinds of things happening across the states when it comes to violent crime, when it comes to no cash bail, when it comes to pensions, or even the migrant situation. So we'll tackle all of that as well. Anytime you've missed something something, you can always find it. Just follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and you can see some of the conversations we've had, the interviews, even things like the Council Roundup. If you missed that, you can obviously get the podcast at WMAY.com or find it on YouTube or on our streaming services via Facebook as well. So you can make that happen. And joining us, all right, come on in, guys. We are live, so come on in, have a seat, sit real close over there. We're going to do some behind the scenes live on air. Joining us now is Andrew Bartlett and Michael Thomas. We've got the Central Illinois Customer Service Association, and you two are going to have to sit real close together. So we can get you in view of that camera while I continue to set some stuff up here. So greatly appreciate you guys being on. Let me make sure I've got the microphones. That's pretty much what I do each and every day.
Bishop is a wizard.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you guys are doing because, listen, I mean, customer service is huge, right? It's important that people know how to treat a customer because the customer's always right.
That's right.
And that's what the Central Illinois Customer Service Association is focusing on is those who have those daily interactions with customers. So what do we got coming up October 5th?
Yeah, thanks again for having us, Greg. We really appreciate the opportunity. So October 5th, we have a national keynote speaker named Jack Stallman coming to Springfield. He's from Minnesota. He was an actor in Hollywood. He spent time around George Clooney, Oprah, and he talks about having the it factor. And he's going to share some best practices, some ideas with us around the shift, the gift, the connection, and maybe how we can learn to display some of these characteristics and take it back to our businesses to treat our customers even better.
Now, of course, Michael Thomas, you work with businesses that hire employees and a lot of customer service involved there. Andrew, you work with businesses with out-of-the-box media. How important is business owners getting into this type of environment to hear from a national speaker, but also network with people?
Yeah, man, I got involved with the group a couple of years ago, and I've absolutely loved it from growth from being a business owner and just personal growth. The speakers that we bring in are just, it's very much quality over quantity, and I constantly preach that. It's amazing. It's really gets you boosted up too. You know what I mean? Whenever you see these guys.
And talk about the group itself and the importance of that network that you guys are creating and bringing all these different groups and businesses together.
Yeah, it's very special, Greg. And to your point, it's a diverse group. So our members are everyone from executives and CEOs all the way down to frontline workers. So as you can imagine, that kind of space, best practices are shared, strategies are shared. Sometimes we're, venting to one another, right? It's kind of a safe space where we respect one another. Business transactions are happening, relationships are being built, and we all walk away feeling better, about what we do and who we serve and be able to go back and deliver that customer service.
So again, October 5th, the Don't Flinch guy is going to be in town, and he's going to be giving you some motivation to continue on and providing the best customer service possible. How can people register for this event?
Silsa.org is probably the best place to go. That's CILCSA.org. You can RSVP on there. We do have some complimentary seats available, even if you're not a member. Come check it out, and it's a great opportunity to kind of experience what's that's like. We're going to have a little continental breakfast, courtesy continental breakfast, and that's at Hope Church.
Silsa.org, the Central Illinois Customer Service Association, October 5th. The Don't Flinch guy, a featured speaker across the country. Again, Michael, give us just that overview of where this guy's been.
Yeah, so comes from Minnesota, spent time in Hollywood. He was an actor, and he just talks about having the it factor. And, people like George Clooney, Tom Hanks, they kind of have it, right? And how can we take some of those characteristics and traits back to our business circles and our companies and help our customers feel that. And Jack's hilarious. We've spent time with him now on several calls. He's excited to be in Springfield, and we're looking forward to the event.
And limited seating, is that right?
Seating is limited. Again, we're happy to extend some complimentary seats. There are options for membership, but silsa.org is the best way to get registered. And we hope to see you.
October 5th, the Don't Flinch guy. All right, he's going to be at the Hope Church on Linhart Road, and you can get more information with the Central Illinois Customer Service Association. Silsa.org is the website. Silsa.org, CILCSA.org. Andrew Bartlett from Outbox Media, Out of the Box Media, also Michael Thomas. Thank you guys for being here. And keep us posted on future events because, I mean, this is a great organization and it's been around for several years. I imagine that during the pandemic it was integral in keeping spirits high. And here we are post-pandemic. Still need to keep that motivation going, and it's these types of events that are going to help with networking and bring people together and keep them motivated.
Yep, awesome. Well said, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you taking the time with us. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Coming back, we will chat with Michelle Ownby from the Springfield Business Journal about all things happening in and around the business community. Right now, though, it's 8:21 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Deliver smiles, butter burgers, fresh custard, and great service. Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all positions.
Do you like gadgets? Techie kind of stuff that you can control with your phone, like your home security system, for instance. If you have a security system and you're not able to control everything with your phone, you're really missing out. With the virtual keypad on your phone, you can even watch your cameras and control other systems in your house besides just the security system from anywhere at any time. Curious? Call the Springfield office of Barcom Security or check out barcomsecurity.com and have a secure day.
Hey, it's Breeze Airways, the seriously nice airline that wants to fly you to your next vacation. Fly nonstop from Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport in Springfield to Orlando and Tampa Bay, faster and easier than ever before. We don't charge change or cancellation fees, so you can book with complete peace of mind. Go to flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
Take the easy way out.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, as we do each and every Wednesday at this time, it's time to talk with Michelle Ownby for Business in the 217. She's the publisher of the Springfield Business Journal, and she joins us now as she does each and every Wednesday. Michelle, thanks for taking time and a lot to tackle this morning. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. We've got, of course, happenings all over the town and outside of Springfield. But let's start with one of the larger industries in Springfield, and that is Springfield Clinic getting involved in what could be another major industry once we get all the pieces into place for the sports clinic. Tell us about what happened outside of Shields this past week.
Yes, good morning, Greg. Well, last week we talked about the groundbreaking for the new Shields Sports Complex, which was 1 week ago today. But now some additional information has come out regarding Springfield Clinic, and they are going to be what they're calling the health and performance partner for that new sports park. No word on an exact dollar amount, but they have confirmed that it's a multi-million-dollar commitment over a 20-year period, so certainly very significant. And of course, Springfield Clinic's been in the news a lot over the last couple of years because of their ongoing dispute with Blue Cross Blue Shield, which has yet to be resolved, with the clinic claiming that they are not able or willing to pay the higher reimbursement rates that Blue Cross demands. But as part of this partnership, Springfield Clinic is going to construct a brick and mortar building attached to this. You know, they're going to have this giant air dome so they can do indoor fields year round. Springfield Clinic's logo will be on that dome, and they'll build a brick and mortar building right next to it for sports medicine. They're also going to build a walk-in clinic that'll be more of a general practice type of thing that will be outside the sports park, but still within the boundaries of Legacy Point. So they will have a pretty significant presence there for both general medicine and sports medicine for all of these athletes and their families that are anticipated to be traveling to Springfield.
And that dome, by the way, I'm told that it's going to be bigger than Shields. Is that for real?
Significantly, yes. Wow. Yes, and they're saying that it's the largest of its type in the world. So sounds pretty impressive.
No question. So big news there. And of course, the partnerships coming together, not just Shields sponsoring the sports park at Legacy Point, but also Springfield Clinic stepping up to provide some of the medical services that athletes need. And obviously, this is going to be considered something, once it's completely finished, a major draw from people coming from outside of Springfield, even from outside the state possibly, to take part in travel sports types of events, from baseball fields to soccer fields to indoor facilities. So I think 2025 is when they'll have everything in place. We'll see how much business that indeed drives, not just across the city, but also in that section of Legacy Point. Michelle, other things going on, of course, in and around the Springfield business community. You guys with the Springfield Business Journal have your fingers on the pulse. But let's talk about a new owner for Secure Dental and what this means for the community.
Yeah, so Secure Dental is on 687 Linton Avenue down in the Park South area. And as of earlier this month, Dr. Jorge Mosquera has purchased that practice. So he's changing the name to Makeover Dental, and he specializes in cosmetic dentistry. So they're also changing their focus a bit from a general dentistry practice. So they are now up and running. They've still got the old signage up, but they're operating under the new name and starting to provide these new services. And another change that we've seen with a local business is the Keep Store. We talked about them a little over a year ago. Last May, they opened Springfield's first refillery downtown on Adams Street, where you can go and basically get your household products, soap, shampoo, laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, things like that. But you buy them in bulk using refillable containers. So the whole idea is to be more environmentally friendly, cut down on all this single-use plastic and the waste. And owner Amy Shelton has now moved, but she hasn't gone very far. She's right next door at 312 East Adams. She said it was just really a better floor plan and better layout to be able to display the products. So they are having a grand reopening and ribbon cutting this Saturday at 9 o'clock.
A pretty inventive idea, and something I think a lot of people are gravitating towards, because I tell you what, Michelle, I hate having to get small little plastic items of things that I use a lot of, and then we just have to continuously, re-up getting more of these little plastic things. So being able to actually take, your own container in and fill it up with the items that you need, that's a pretty incredible idea, and something I think a lot of people are going to be looking to take advantage of. Again, we're talking with Michelle Ownby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal, here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Before we talk about the next food week, let's talk about how people can get their hands on the SBJ.
Sure, you can get on our website at springfieldbusinessjournal.com. We actually just launched a new and improved website last week, so it should be a little bit easier to navigate. And BizBites, our weekly newsletter, comes out every Wednesday, and that's free of charge. So if you get online now, you can still sign up in time to receive the edition that comes out this afternoon.
To make that happen, Michelle Ownby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal. One of the great things about our community here in Springfield is all of the great restaurateurs and the unique flavors that they bring to the table, literally. But you guys with Springfield Business Journal and your sister publication, the Illinois Times, you do efforts to highlight all of the great flavors and all of the unique things that these restaurants are making for people to enjoy. We've had Burger Week, we've had Horseshoe Week, we've had a variety of different types of food weeks, but we're at it again with, all things chicken.
Yeah, so this is a new one for us. We do listen to reader feedback, and we've had a number of food weeks over the years, as you mentioned, and some favorites like Burger Week that come back every year. But one of the suggestions we got, that we got was to focus on chicken. So this will be, it's going on now through October 1st. It's an $8 price point, and a number of different local restaurants participating for eating off-menu items. So we've got everything from Say Goodbye to Summer with the Aloha Chicken Sandwich at Fire and Ale. A lot of the classics that you would expect, like Country Fried Chicken at Main Gate, Chicken and Noodles at Weebles, Chicken Parmesan at Silver Sevens, and then Legacy Point Eatery. Speaking of Legacy Point, they actually came up with a side dish. They're doing a buffalo chicken dip with their homemade chips.
Oh, my gosh.
Wide variety, but you can go on the 217 Food Week site to see some tantalizing photos of all the different options there.
You just sold me on that buffalo chicken dip with their homemade chips. Legacy Point, thumbs up on that one. We will be there to grab that item. And one thing about this, Michelle, is, these items for these special weeks you guys carve out, it's something that you got to get while it's happening, because they may not carry that on after All Thing Chicken Week is over.
Right. And it's a good excuse, if there's a restaurant you haven't been to before, or maybe a favorite place you haven't been in a while. Again, these are local restaurants, and we all know the importance of supporting these mom and pop places. So it's a good reason to get a little more creative when you're dining out.
Absolutely. Michelle Loamby, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal. Always appreciate taking time with you and you keeping us updated on all things happening in and around the business community. Be safe out there, okay?
All right. Thanks, Greg.
It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. All right. For those watching on the live stream, that's all we've got for today. Appreciate you guys taking the time with us and hanging out.